The United Nations is calling it the world's largest humanitarian crisis. And yet, for most of us, it's a forgotten war. So today, we're going to dig into what's really happening in Sudan, who's behind the fighting, and why this nation is being absolutely torn apart while the world seems to be looking the other way.
Okay, that is not a line from some horror movie. That is a direct quote from a Yale University analysis of satellite images over a Sudanese city called Fasher. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a horrifying glimpse into the sheer brutality on the ground, where the violence is so widespread that it is literally visible from orbit.
Since this civil war blew up in April of 2023, the death toll has already climbed past 150,000 people. And that's not just a statistic, it's a number that gets higher every single day this conflict rages on.
And the devastation, it doesn't stop there. More than 10 million people have been ripped from their homes, forced to flee with literally nowhere safe to go. To try and wrap your head around that number, that is more than the entire population of a country like Switzerland, just uprooted.
So when you add all that up, the dead, the displaced, the starving, it's why the United Nations has been absolutely unequivocal. What's happening in Sudan right now is the single largest humanitarian catastrophe on the entire planet.
So how on earth did it get this bad? Well, it all comes down to a bitter power struggle between two men, two generals who actually seized control of the nation together as allies and are now ripping it to shreds as enemies.
So on one side, you have General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. He's the head of the official Sudanese Armed Forces, or the SAF. And on the other side is General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemedti. He commands this incredibly powerful paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF. Their alliance used to run the country, now their rivalry is destroying it.
Let's just quickly walk through how we got here. Back in 2019, there was so much hope when massive protests finally got rid of the longtime dictator Omar al-Bashir. But Burhan and Dagalo basically hijacked that revolution. By 2021, they'd completely dissolved the civilian government that was supposed to guide Sudan towards democracy. And then, by April 2023, their personal feud just exploded into a full-blown civil war that has now swallowed the entire nation.
So what exactly are they fighting over? Well, it really boils down to this lethal mix of personal ambition, total military control, and the enormous natural wealth that's buried right under Sudan's soil.
You know, at its core, the whole conflict really ignited over one single plan: merging Dagalo's powerful RSF into the regular national army. For Dagalo, that meant losing his entire power base. For both of them, the ultimate prize was complete command of the military, and, maybe most importantly, control over Sudan's incredibly valuable gold mines.
And this gets to the central tragic paradox of Sudan. You've got a nation that is so rich in resources, but its people are some of the poorest in the world. And why is that? Well, an estimated 90% of its gold is smuggled out of the country, and the profits aren't used to build schools or hospitals, but to buy the very weapons that are tearing it all down.
And the scale of this wealth is just staggering. Sudan produces over 60,000 kilograms of gold every year. To put that in perspective, a massive country like India produces less than 2,000. This is the resource, this is the fuel that allows both sides to just keep buying weapons and dragging out this devastating war.
Now, to really understand the horrific nature of the violence we're seeing, especially the ethnic targeting, you have to look at where General Dagalo's RSF came from. And their history is, well, it's incredibly dark.
You see, before they were called the RSF, they were known by another name, the Janjaweed. In Arabic, the name roughly translates to devils on horseback. And believe me, it's a name they earned through a legacy of absolute terror.
It started in the early 2000s. The Janjaweed militia was unleashed to crush a rebellion in the Darfur region, and they committed acts that the U.S. government officially labeled a genocide. General Dagalo was a key commander back then. Then, in 2013, the militia was just rebranded. They became the Rapid Support Forces, formalized, with Dagalo put in charge. The name changed, but human rights groups say the brutal tactics and the ideology, that never did.
Today, organizations like Human Rights Watch are accusing the RSF of committing ethnic cleansing. They allege that the group is systematically targeting and killing non-Arab communities. People like the Masalit, the Fur, and the Zagawa in Darfur, in what looks like a chilling replay of the genocide from 2 decades ago. And in the end, the price for this brutal power struggle isn't being paid by the generals. It's being paid by the ordinary people of Sudan, who are trapped right in the middle of it all.
Just look at this. A staggering 60% of Sudan's entire population, that's 30 million people, now depend on humanitarian aid just to survive. The very fabric of the country is completely unraveling.
The nation is on the brink of total collapse. The World Food Program is warning of a famine of historic proportions. Hospitals have been bombed, schools are closed, diseases like cholera are spreading like wildfire. And it's so important to understand, while the RSF is accused of this horrific ethnic violence on the ground, the official army is also accused of war crimes for its indiscriminate airstrikes on civilian areas.
Now, with a crisis this massive, you'd expect a massive international response, right? But that just hasn't happened. This has truly become the world's forgotten war.
And here's where it gets even more complicated. This isn't just an internal conflict, it's become a proxy war. Foreign powers are allegedly arming both sides to protect their own interests. The UAE and Russia's Wagner Group reportedly backed the RSF to get access to gold, while countries like Iran, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia are backing the official army to maintain regional stability. All this foreign fuel just keeps the fire burning.
This lack of political will is matched by a staggering lack of money. The UN put out an appeal for $4.2 billion in aid. They've received less than half of what they need. The world's attention is just somewhere else, and the people of Sudan are paying the ultimate price for that distraction. Which leaves us with a final and truly chilling question. We have seen this all before. The devils on horseback, the ethnic targeting in Darfur, the international community failing to act decisively. So as the world looks away again, are we just allowing history to repeat itself? Are we witnessing another genocide unfold in slow motion?